baby, it's you. You're the one I love. You're the one I need. You're the only one I see. Come on, baby, it's you. You're the one that gives your all. You're the one I can always call when I need to make everything stop. Finally, you put my love on top.
Top, baby. You're the one I love. You're the one I need. You're the only one I see. Come on, baby, it's you. You're the one that gives your all. You're the one I can always call when I need to make everything stop. Finally, you put my love on top.
Top, baby. You're the one I love. You're the one I need. You're the only one I see. Come on, baby, it's you. You're the one that gives your all. You're the one I can always call when I need to make everything stop. Finally, you put my love on top, baby. You're the one I love. You're the one I need. You're the only one I see.
All right, that joke got old.
It's Ethan turning into Simon and then Alvin.
And then Theodore.
And Theodore, of course.
Oh,
Oh, which one would Ethan be? He's not precocious enough to be an Alvin.
No, he's Simon.
Yeah, he's extremely Simon.
Because I have
Probably
glasses.
the most Simon human I've ever seen in my life. legitimately looks like Simon. What am I talking about?
I know. I was like, why are you
That wasn't
debating?
even a question.
If we had, hold on,
What is wrong with me?
do we have a picture of
You are the
Simon to
most-
throw up right now?
Yes. It's uncanny. This is I Need to See That, a podcast about Beyonce. I'm Eli.
I'm Caroline.
I'm Ethan.
We're getting into the Beyonce verse. I'm not as familiar. Like, here's the thing. I love Beyonce. I think her music's incredible. I think she is one of the better actresses of the musician turned actor phenomena. And I think she is, in doing my research and in thinking about it, she is, the argument was made in our Taylor Swift episode of who is more powerful. I still think Taylor Swift is the most powerful human in the world, even post Cowboy Carter. But Beyonce is kind of her own thing. She is a master of industry, if you will.
Yeah, I think, here's what I'll say. I think their power is very different because I think, I was discussing this with a friend this week. Taylor has the power of how she relates to you as an individual, while Beyonce is speaking to an entire group of people. And it's more about bringing like different artists together. It's a collective. Like the fact that Linda Martell, this is the first time she's ever been in the top 100 because of Cowboy Carter. She brought, I think it's at least 4 to 6 Black female country artists were in the top 100 for the first time. So it's more speaks to the power of her influence and how she's able to highlight other artists. And we're lucky to be living in Beyonce.
My wife told me about an episode of NPR called The Question Trap. Did either of you hear this? It's essentially people on first dates asking the question, what do you think of Beyonce?
Oh.
And they can tell a lot about their potential partner based on the answer. Because if the answer is like, I don't listen to Beyonce, they don't understand like the power of Beyonce and what Beyonce represents as a strong woman, a strong person of color, an industrial being, if you will. I think it's interesting.
I also think that
so this podcast has become me saying secondhand what my wife told me about another podcast, by the way.
that counts.
That was pretty.
That counts as
that was a
podcast.
moment.
That's good
That counts as, that
podcasting.
is podcasting.
Yeah.
Got it. I'm happy we're here.
We made it. It's 18 episodes in. Ethan, what were you going to say?
I also think that she's been around long enough that her music, there is such a span of genre, and she has done something that you likely, the royal you, like. She has dabbled in all different genres, and if you're unable to say, I like Beyonce, or like, I like this specific album, or I like these types of songs of Beyonce, then you're just ignoring a great artist. Bummer for you.
I know. And the fact that Beyonce has made not one, but at least 2 songs you're going to hear at every single wedding reception. Because that's how you know that's like peak monoculture. It's a song that your grandparents, your aunt, your uncle, they know those songs. Like, we're always going to hear Single Ladies. You're always going to hear Love on Top. And everyone knows those songs.
Baby,
and she's written,
it's you. You're the one I love. You're the one I need. You're the only one I see.
I like Beyonce.
I love her. It's interesting. I think maybe we'll get into it as we get into the filmography in a second. Sort of thinking about as I watched Obsessed and the Pink Panther this week, seeing what I think is sort of, there's a clear, I think, delineation like in her film career specifically, where you see where Beyonce was accessible to where now we have the Beyonce with a capital B that I think is curated, which I think happened when Self-Titled dropped. Because once Self-Titled dropped, the only movie she's done since then was A Lion King. And I think every movie before then, it's like Beyonce, the commercial success, but like not the artist that she is now.
And I think that translated in her music too, right?
Yeah,
because
totally.
her music was very like accessible and broad, and then it and kind of like funky, but like kind of playing with genres. And now it is art. It's its own art form. It's fascinating to me.
That's a really good point, because I'm sure that we probably have to talk about it as we at some point talk about other singers who've transitioned to acting. Is the Joker 2 trailer dropped, and there's Lady Gaga, and she's obviously somebody who has started to care differently about acting than the way that Beyonce did. And I wonder if Beyonce today could make a pivot towards more serious acting. There was obviously a moment that felt like she wanted to, but never, I mean, not to spoil our thoughts, or at least my thoughts, she never got there fully in a way that Lady Gaga did immediately.
Right. I mean, well, there was that one point where Beyonce was attached to A Star Is Born, because there were like 12 iterations before we got to Gaga and Cooper. Yeah, and so we could have been Beyonce.
But like, let's just say that, and maybe at that moment that was the right moment, but I don't know if Bradley Cooper was directing a movie that called for a female lead in her mid-40s, if Beyonce, like, I don't know if Beyonce could do it now, if we could see anything that and think it isn't Beyonce. I think that we had sort of a similar thought with Taylor Swift. Like, she will never not be Taylor Swift. And Gaga, I don't know, maybe she's somehow come above it. I wonder if I'm sure we can name some other people who've done that, but difficult. J-Lo has.
J-Lo has,
for a moment, not anymore. But
she has such a good filmography up until this year.
Right.
I was thinking about the movie Out of Sight recently. But real quick, before we get too far, I'm gonna unleash Caroline right now. Ethan, you and I are gonna sit back for a little bit, because Caroline watched the Joker 2 trailer. Caroline, leashes off. Go.
I will never see the first Joker. There is one Joker. His name is Heath Ledger. I have no need to see these films. I love Lady Gaga. Ethan and I were in the same theater for A Star Is Born opening night. I got yelled at for laughing too much at House of Gucci by a man in public. And I love Lady Gaga, the actress. I don't know that I need the director and writer of The Hangover to continue be writing films in quotation marks for guys in the Reddit comments. Unfortunately, as much as I want to support Lady Gaga, this is not the film for me, but I know I'm probably gonna have to see it. Maybe I'll love it, but already this is not a musical for me. It is what it is. And I hope that Gaga's method acting pays off. And if this is what she wins the Oscar for, I'm going to be deeply upset.
May I be unleashed for a second?
Go.
Yeah. When were you not?
Caroline Nash, you just said the words, there is only one Joker and his name is Heath Ledger, and I need to examine that a little bit, because there is a gentleman by the name of Cesar Romero who played the Joker in the Adam West TV shows and Adam West movies. There's a man named Mark Hamill who has voiced the Joker in many, many, many an incredible cartoon. There's a man named Zach Galifianakis who played the Joker in the Lego Batman movie, which is one of my favorite interpretations of the Joker. There is Jack Nicholson in the original Joker movie. There is Heath Ledger, of course, which you just said. There is the People's Joker. Don't sleep on the People's Joker, out in theaters now, most likely in a city near you, which I want to devote an entire episode to the People's Joker, by the way. There's a lot to say about that. Broaden your horizon. What? Is that a term? That's a term, right? My wife makes fun of me all the time for getting terms wrong, and she's going to listen to this, and she's going to rip me apart. Like, I'll say, like, oh, I need to go kill 2 birds with 2 stones. And she'll just be like, what's that? And I'm like, God damn it, I did it again. Broaden your horizons when it comes to the definition of who the Joker is, because the Joker is every one of us, and the Joker is fluid, and the Joker can be whoever you want the Joker to be. Leash back on.
Sometimes, Eli, I think that, people will say, like, senators have an audience of 1 and it's Donald Trump, like, when they're on TV. Sometimes your audience of 1 is Oliver. Like, you sometimes say things that just, like, appeal to, like, oh, he said Mark Hamill, thank God. Like, Oliver's, like, on pins and needles, and you appeal to the demographic of Oliver's. I'll cut that because I'm editing, but I just needed that to be said.
Hey, my army of Olivers, I want you to put on that Joker face paint. I want you to go out and see Joker Folia de on night 1. I want you to only comment about the musical moments, and I want us all to have the time of our lives.
Okay, I do need to say that also part of my, like, resistance to this is this is a real story from a few weeks ago that I'm process, like, why this happened. I was waiting I'm the one person waiting for the bus in LA, and there was a man in full Joker makeup in the middle of the afternoon.
Was it Ethan?
It was me.
It was Ethan.
Okay. Sorry.
Now,
which Joker makeup? Which Joker makeup?
It was like
Mark Hamill's, Cesar Romero's, Jack Nicholson's,
Zach Galifianakis,
Jared Leto.
Oh, I didn't even say Jared Leto.
Oh boy.
But you know what? That's fine. That's fine. We don't recognize Jared Leto. My army of Olivers do not recognize Jared Leto.
Do we need to really weaponize the army of Olivers?
Yes, the army of Olivers. I need to say something about Joker 2 trailer. The trailer was objectively awesome. It was like a great looking trailer. The lipstick on the glass part and him smiling into it was, like, chilling. It was really good. I still think that is it wasn't a good movie. He was incredible in it. It's not my favorite Joaquin Phoenix performance, but he was incredible. Probably gave the performance of the year. I don't know. They didn't do anything with the first one, right? Like, they tried to make a film, like you said, Caroline, in quotes, and all I was left with was, we live in a society, which I still don't know what that means. And if you're going to try and present a film that has, it shows up as, we are going to unleash the dark truth about the world we live in, and you can come up with, we live in a society, and it's kind of a bust for me. I'm going to see the second one. I've been boned on second movies this year, so I will go see any second movie that I didn't like the first one. Shout out Dune 2. I loved you.
Yeah.
But the first one was not good. The trailer looks great. It just looks great. And it frustrated me because the trailer looks so great.
Men without a bed frame need a movie. So I can't wait for them. I can't wait for them.
Caroline texted us this. I have a lot to say about this trailer. It's the worst trailer I've ever seen, or something. Sorry if I'm putting words in your mouth. But I'm talking about the Joker, so it's apropos. I watched the trailer and I thought it looked really good. I thought, you know how the first movie is just like somebody who has never seen Taxi Driver but gets Taxi Driver, so he's like, I'm just gonna make Taxi Driver even though I've clearly never seen Taxi Driver. That's what the first movie is to me. I think this movie might be the same thing, only with the movie Pennies from Heaven, and that really intrigues me.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
really excites me.
maybe we can be in the same city and see it together, and then see how. See if
I
When's
don't
it
know.
coming out?
I'm thinking of going alone in a trench coat. I think that's going to be my way to see Joker.
you might not be the only one.
Probably not. Me and my army of Olivers.
Hey.
I don't know why, but you know how like the army of Jokers will wear the Joker face paint? I imagine the army of Olivers is just like Mike Myers' Cat in the Hat. They're all just dressed up like the Mike Myers Cat in the Hat, just doing shtick to each other.
Which is an appropriate transition because Beyonce's first movie starred Mike Myers.
So Beyonce.
Beyonce. Where do we start with Beyonce? Do we start with Destiny's Child? Because that's how we all were introduced.
I will say
To
her
Beyonce.
first acting performance was in. Either of you see the episode of Smart Guy when it's with the original four from Destiny's Child?
You remember that episode?
Yeah, Taj Mahari.
Is this right? Is that true? I
Yeah.
didn't know
Yes.
this.
Yes, Taj Mahari tap dances in their No 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 video in the episode, and then his brother takes Beyonce to prom.
He's a smart
Guy. Yeah, Latavia, Latoya, Kelly, and Beyonce, that iteration. So it was like 1997, 98.
Was Destiny's Child ever on All That? Were they a musical guest on All That? I know TLC was, and
Too soon.
They
can't
toured
talk
together.
about that show. Can't talk about that show for 3 months
3 months.
because of that horrible
quite on set.
documentary.
No, I know.
I don't know that they were. I feel like they were in the overlap between like the original one and then before they brought it back. But I think they were on some teen show adjacent to that.
Well, Destiny's Child, they were around from 1997 to around 2002. Their first album was called Destiny's Child in 1998.
Yep.
And then, of course, The Writings on the Wall, 1999. Survivor, 2001. I think that's really when I got into them because I'm a survivor.
I was from No No No, so 98. But like I if we're thinking about Destiny's Child related to movies, Charlie's Angels was so my shit in 2000, 2001. Like that spoke to every middle school girl. And Independent Women Part 1 was such a huge part of that. Like I still think about that video and the flames everywhere and all three of it. It's a great, one of the great movie songs, I think.
By the way,
wanna
Charlie's
say-
Angels was big for teenage boys as well, just so you
It
know.
was. I want to say that Survivor was the #1 track on Now 7, which is definitely a CD that I had.
I think of this era as like the MTV era where it was like so like Carson Daly. I
Right.
would watch it every single day when I got home from school. I'd throw on TRL. I would watch it. I'd wait for the corn videos because I was such a corn head. I was such a corn fan. This is the time. I had a LL Bean backpack that was engraved with corn, Korn, and the R was backwards. I was so cool. I had bleach blonde bangs and my corn backpack.
Do you have a photo? Please say you have a
I'm
photo.
Yeah,
also
of course
thinking
I
about
do.
the
I'll
person
find
at the LL Bean factory that had to monogram that, explaining to the person in Vermont.
I know for
why-
a fact, I said we were in, I think it was Maine. We went to the LL Bean store. I asked for corn, and I know I did not ask for the R backwards, and they did it for me.
You're seeing, Eli.
I was seen. Yeah, so that was me, and I love Destiny's Child. I mean, my relationship with them is bar mitzvahs.
I mean, the same.
Here, check this out. This is for you. This is for you.
Oh, I can't wait.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
look at this stud.
Eli. Well, and then there's
Look at this guy. I would like to point out. Let's take a moment.
The
How
boys-
many? Hey, Ethan, how many necklaces am I wearing?
You're wearing two. You're wearing two necklaces. The boys' necklace era of the
bring it back.
late 90s, early 2000 was a big moment. And do you know what? We should bring it back.
It's time. It's
How do you feel about
gabagool.
a white T-shirt with a black sweater vest over it? I got these bangs because
tips.
of the Blink-182 music video for "Fell in Love with a Girl at the Rock Show," and I went to my friend's salon. I didn't go to my barber. I went with my friend to his salon and said, hey, I want this, and showed them a picture of Mark Opus, and they gave me this. And they're like, do you want me to spike it? And I'm like, no, just let it hang, because I thought I looked so cool. I was pretty cool. And now you get to be friends with me. How lucky for you.
Us.
We're pretty lucky.
Anyway, that's what I think of when I think of Beyonce. 2001, Survivor, 2001. Also, 8 Days of Christmas. Is that an album that matters a lot to you?
The Christmas album
No.
is pretty great. They have a Sleigh Bells cover that's really fantastic.
In 2003, Beyonce has her first... Am I saying her name wrong? I keep saying Beyonce, and I feel like it's Beyonce. But then when I say Beyonce, I feel like that's wrong.
I think you're saying
Can
it
we
right.
just...
Beyonce.
It's Beyonce?
Yeah, Beyonce.
I feel like such a nerd. Beyonce.
We are nerds.
That was wrong.
Yeah.
I listen to Beyonce. Is that right?
I think you sound like
You're both young and cool. Teach me how to be young and cool.
Just say it. It's just Beyonce. Just say the word Beyonce.
Yeah. You're overthinking
Wait,
this.
teach me how to be cool. Step 1, get gel it straight down, bleach blonde my bangs, and say Beyonce.
Beautiful.
That's
All right, thank you.
You did it.
2003, her solo. I'm just gonna say her solo album, "Dangerously in Love," came out. Of course, the year that Ethan had his bar mitzvah. In 2006, B-Day came out.
Oof. Perfect album.
But she's already a film star by then.
Mm-hmm.
This is more of her film star era. We're getting,
Yes.
we're in her.
Goldmember comes out before her solo album. It's in between. Like, because Check on
Yes.
It was kind of her dip into becoming a solo artist.
So Survivor comes out in 2001. Like I said, that is like prime Destiny's Child to me. Did they popped up in the 9/11 tribute song too, the What's Going On, right?
I think they did. That was 2001. So it's about this
Yeah.
the same era. Yeah,
That's when Survivor came out. That's when 8 Days of Christmas came out.
Yeah.
Well, also in 2001, a TV movie, but still a movie came out called Carmen, a hip opera. And spoiler alert, it's bad. I watched it this week.
Was that
I did not watch it.
Ooh.
Tell us about Carmen.
Was this the first MTV
Why,
movie?
if you were thinking... Ooh, is it the first MTV movie? Ethan, do you want to know a really interesting fact about
I do.
Carmen, a hip opera? The adaptation of the opera, of course.
Sure.
I don't know if you knew that. It's an adaptation of the 1875 opera by Georges Bizet. I feel like I got that right. Fun fact about it, it's directed by Robert Townsend
Yeah.
of
Who's done a
Hollywood
lot of
Shuffle
stuff.
fame. I think that's fascinating. It stars Mekhi Phifer, Mos Def, Wyclef Jean, Beyonce. It's her first movie role. Of course, Debrat is in it as well. It got one nomination, not for Beyonce. Mekhi Phifer got nominated for the Black Reel Awards. He was nominated. I don't know who he won to. This was the 2002 awards. It's interesting to watch in that it is a hip opera, and I feel like the world needs more hip operas. But I didn't like it. That's the end of that statement.
Cool. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thank you for watching.
You're welcome. I thought we were all gonna watch it, so I came here being like, oh man, that was 2 hours wasted, but at least I got to talk about it with my friends.
No, what you did is saved us a collective 4 hours
And for that,
by letting us know that it was pretty bad.
I'm still trying to figure out if it's the first MTV TV movie. Because she does do another movie later that was produced by MTV, but it's not Carmen. That we'll talk about in a
What's
second.
your favorite MTV show? MTV had some really cool, like, late night shows around this time, like The Max. That show ruled.
Okay, my real answer is Laguna Beach in the hills, but my other answer that I have weird specific memories, my cousins would, because they were like several years older than me, and I would get to watch this cool stuff with them. They would watch Undressed, which did famously star Christina Hendricks. And that was a wild time in the late 90s to see that show.
I liked Real World. I liked Singled Out was a great show.
Oh, so good.
I watched that a lot.
I loved Cribs.
I
was
watched
important.
Cribs important. All of the spring break specials, I would watch that. A friend of mine reminded me recently of the year Limp Bizkit played the spring break and they blew up a boat halfway through. They go, "Who wants to blow up a boat?" And then they just blew up a boat and then sang "Break Some Stuff" or whatever their song is. Anyway, that's MTV. What? MTV, I need that back. I need classic MTV back. Do you know a fun fact? Around this time, if you had your music video on MTV, you gave MTV the rights to your entire catalog. They could use any song you've ever recorded in any of their shows. And that's the power they had.
That's how they were able to get great songs in reality shows.
Yeah, because
they just didn't have to pay any music. They didn't have to pay any music.
Exactly.
No.
They owned the rights. They
But
could
as
do
an
whatever
artist,
they
you
wanted.
wanted your music on MTV because it was really sure.
Because
good
it mattered
business
until
model.
Napster came around, and then LimeWire, and then Spotify, and then everything changed,
Right.
and then nothing mattered.
And famously, another pop star turned actor, Hilary Duff, had 2 theme songs on MTV shows because she had "Come Clean" on Laguna Beach, and then she had a Super Sweet 16 song on My Super Sweet 16.
In 2002, so 2001, Carmen, a hip hopper, came out. It's bad. 2002, oh boy, buckle up because we have Austin Powers in Goldmember. Beyonce's first in theater film experience, playing Foxy Cleopatra.
A whole lot of woman.
I was waiting.
That's her line, right?
Yeah.
This movie's awesome. It's really funny.
I was 12 years old when this came out. I was too young for the first Austin Powers, and then the second one came out when I was 9, which was just about the time where I could start watching PG-13 movies. So by the time Goldmember had come out, my whole family had watched all the Austin Powers movies together, and I'd started watching more James Bond movies. So we saw this as a family opening night, and it was the best. It was like a full theater watching a comedy, people laughing together. It'll never happen again, but it was awesome.
I've seen all 3 Austin Powers in theaters with my dad, I believe. Loved them. Loved the first one. Thought it was the funniest thing ever. Thought Mike Myers was the funniest human being to ever live. Watched the second one. Same thing. I thought it was the funniest movie ever. I thought Mike Myers and Will Ferrell were the funniest because Will Ferrell had the great extended bit in the second one. And I had a huge crush on Heather Graham. Stayed up all night before the third one came out so I could get the Boston Globe early in the morning and open up to read the review and see how many stars it got. And I think it got 3 stars, and I thought that was the best thing ever. I was like, oh my God, it almost got 4 stars, which is the most stars you can get. And I was so excited. Watched it in theaters that day. The second Tom Cruise and Gwyneth Paltrow pop up in the opening,
Amazing.
I lost
So
my
good.
fucking mind. And then Ethan's
It's
favorite
great.
actor, of course, also pops up.
Steven Spielberg.
Yeah. It's a funny movie. Hey, do you know who plays the character of Fook Yu?
No, who?
Dancing with the Stars judge Carrie Ann Inaba.
Oh,
Fun fact
good for her.
from the
Good for
movie
Carrie Ann.
Goldmember. Do you know who plays number 2 in those movies? Famous actual murderer Robert Wagner. We can talk about this in a different podcast if we need.
I think we brought that up before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you watch this movie? Did you rewatch this movie at all?
I didn't rewatch it, but
I watch YouTube clips.
Yeah, I'm thinking about check. I mean, I will say like Beyonce. This is where, like I said, this is where I think about like when I think about Beyonce as becoming Beyonce. It's this movie because I think this really is kind of where you're like, oh, there's a little bit more to her, and plus we got this first single from Beyonce, and Check on It sort of really exploded, showing that Beyonce has the power on her own to become who she is now.
Yeah, but at this, I would say that she struggles in this movie.
I mean, I think musically, she's amazing. But yeah, acting wise,
sure.
Yeah.
She just can't compete with the funniest person on the planet for 6 years, who was Mike Myers. And I wonder if this movie could have been funnier if they had not cast. I understand why they cast her, right? It was a big deal. Beyonce is in a movie and it's Austin Powers, but she can't keep up. That's not the case in future movies, but in this movie, she just can't keep up.
Do you know who I think is incredible in this movie? Michael Caine.
Oh,
he's
so good.
He acts
so good
in this
so
movie.
Good. Yeah.
He's great.
He's fantastic.
What happened to Mike Myers? He had such a run. You know, you have your Wayne's World 1, Wayne's World 2, How I Married an Axe-Murderer, which is a movie that holds up.
Very funny.
By the way, Wayne's World 1 holds up better than any movie from the 90s.
Yeah, Wayne's World is great.
And
then
Shrek.
Austin Powers, the first, all the Shreks, Shrek 2 being one of the funniest movies ever made. Rewatch it. Austin Powers 1, I think, is almost a perfectly written movie.
Yeah.
Couple problematic things in there on retrospect, but it's very funny.
Yeah.
Austin Powers 2, fine, it's good. Austin Powers 3 is a joke a minute, which take it or leave it, but I rewatched it and there was some stuff I was laughing at. And I think what happened after that is he got kind of what happened to Eddie Murphy, which is they get addicted to makeup. I think they put on they're character actors, right? They're sketch comedians. They're all SNL people. They're used to putting on a funny sweater and being like, "Oh, well, I'm Irish now." Or that was my Irish. Oh, Jesus Christ. But they focus on these characters, and then they realize, oh wait, if I cover my face with rubber, I could actually be a different person. And then they focus so much on that and finding the character that way that they almost lose touch of what is funny. Because then we get like the Love Guru, and then we get the Cat in the Hat, and then we get that weird Netflix show, which I don't know if either of you saw that. And even when he pops up in Inglourious Bastards, he's covered in makeup.
And don't forget, he was in our least favorite movie, Amsterdam.
Oh yeah, and in Amsterdam, he also has like a fake eye. Like I don't understand the addiction to makeup that befalls these incredible comedians.
At some point, especially these comedy people, like they just lose their fastball. It's just not as strong as it once was. Because Goldmember comes out in 2002, 2003 Old School comes out, and then we're in the Judd Apatow, Will Ferrell, Adam McKay, like bro frat guy comedy for the next 8 years until that kind of loses its fastball too. And so I just think that there is a shelf life for a type of comedy, and Mike Myers was the guy for about 10 years, and then he just gave us more of it, and we all said, oh, we're good now.
2003, we get The Fighting Temptations. I worked at a video store when this movie came out, and when I worked at the video store, we would get these little screeners in probably like a month before it came into home video. We would get these screeners where we could take it home and screen it, and then we could, buy 5 copies because we're like, oh, this is going to rent off the shelf. So I saw this movie while it was still technically in theaters before it came to home video. Did either of you watch this movie?
I did. I watched it this week. I've never seen it.
I saw it when it came out in theaters.
I remember loving this movie.
What
are your thoughts on this movie?
Well, it came out during like the Cuba Gooding Snow Dogs era, and that felt like a good era for Cuba Gooding at the time.
And see, this movie I think would have been good if someone else was the star instead of Cuba Gooding Jr. He is unwatchable in this movie. He is so not funny and not worth rooting for, and overacts 100 points out of 5. I started to think about who else could have played this part, and I know that Jamie Foxx was a year away from Ray, but this movie, it's pretty funny. It's well constructed. If Jamie Foxx was the lead in this movie, it would have survived. It would have been a movie that is still in conversation, but Cuba Gooding Jr. is so unwatchable that it is a forgotten movie.
Cuba Gooding Jr. was nominated for a Razzie Award that year.
Yes.
And it says it was shared, the nomination was shared with Boat Trip and Radio. Was this all in the same year?
That tracks.
That tracks, because like Snow...
Did he have 3 of the worst movies ever in the same year?
That it all tracks.
Honestly,
oh my God.
He is terrible. Like, I don't understand how he didn't get an acting note to say, just take it down even one notch. But Beyonce's good in it.
Yeah.
It's good. I mean, it's like well written. I actually enjoyed it. It's the music. It's a version of The Music Man with gospel choirs, but he is unwatchable. So this movie was not good.
I agree. It's not good. I remember liking it. I was excited to rewatch it this year. It's really bad. It's really bad. I like him dancing as he conducts, but other than that, I mean, I agree though. There's something about Beyonce's performance that I kind of like.
Yeah. She was good. She was watchable. She's really good in this.
Well, I feel like it's because it's a part that it's related to like how she started becoming a famous musical, growing up in church choir and things like that. So it's something that she knew. So I think like that's easier to, layer that on as an actor when it's something you already know. This has been Caroline's Acting Corner, and that's do what you know.
Very good.
Yeah.
Cuba Gooding Jr.'s career is insane. I don't think I've ever looked at his IMDb before. Boys in the Hood, 91. Amazing. Few Good Men, 92. Right. Amazing. Outbreak, 95. It's Outbreak, but he's watchable in it. Jerry Maguire, 96, obviously. As Good as It Gets, 97. What Dreams May Come, 98, which I was actually kind of obsessed with that movie at the time. Men of Honor, which is fine. Rat Race in 2001, which is another movie I stayed up all night to read the Golden Globe review of because I was really excited for this. Ethan, you've seen Rat Race, right?
Of course I've seen Rat Race.
This was a big movie for me, Rat Race.
They go to the Barbie Museum, and he gets the lighter in his mouth, and he stands in front of Hitler's car and speaks German. And
can I say
this is an amazing movie.
I rewatched Rat Race recently because I think it was on HBO or something.
Does it hold up?
A lot of the jokes hold up. I was laughing because when you're watching it and you're like, this is funny, and then oh, there's Rowan Atkinson, and he is hilarious in this movie.
He's great.
Seth Green is funny. It's rare that I'm watching a movie and I actually kind of out loud belly laugh. I have a laugh I do when I'm alone. It's this. If I find something really funny and I'm alone, this is the laugh. Good. And I was doing that a lot during Rat Race. I was just going good, nonstop. Then you also get Zoolander in 2001. He has a funny cameo. After that, you have Snow Dogs, Boat Trip, Fighting Temptations, Radio, Home on the Range, Norbit, Daddy Day Camp. What the fuck happened, Cuba Gooding Jr.? And I know there's a lot of problematic things that are happening at this time, so we don't have to get too hard into this, but oh my God.
And then he was OJ in American Crime Story.
Oh, so good.
It was really good.
It was pretty good on that.
Juice.
As was Schwimmer.
Okay, what's next?
Juice. The Juice.
2006. The Juice. 2006. Pink Panther. Caroline, I know you watched that this week.
Yeah, I just finished it earlier today. You know what? For PG film, the amount of sex jokes in this movie were crazy. There's a whole Viagra gag. I also wanted to know, has anyone in this film ever spoken to a French person? Has anyone ever met a French person named
No.
Nicole?
Hamburger.
The hamburger scene's an all-timer. It is like it is a really funny scene and will always be a really funny scene.
It felt it went on for so long. I was like, Steve, I love you so much, but this feels like an IO French accent. And it went on and on and on.
What's your relationship?
Yeah.
Do you have a relationship with the original Pink Panther series at all?
No, my mom loved them, and I need to go back and like actually watch them because I know Peter Sellers is incredible in those. This was, I understand it was probably a love letter of some sort to them.
It is. It's kind of because I watched the original Pink Panther series, because I liked the cartoon Pink Panther. And so my parents were like, "Oh, you like the cartoon? Here, the cartoon Pink Panther's on the cover of this video from Photographics Videos in Swampscott. Let's buy this, or let's rent this." And I put it on, and it's like, I don't know, dude, people talking in a room, and I was just like,
it's
I'm
not
too
gonna-
young for this.
Yeah.
It's not gonna hit. This is not gonna hit.
It was
Yeah.
such a bait and switch moment for me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But watching it, like, when I went to film school, I recognize it's funny. I don't think they're as good as people say. I think there's a generation of people who grew up with the Pink Panther, and they're like, Peter Sellers is the funniest human being in the world. But, like...
Well, he is in a different movie. He is in Doctor Strangelove. He's just not in the Pink Panther movies.
Yeah.
They're fine.
Yeah.
I don't... I think it's you had to be there type of
Can
movie.
I talk about something Pink Panther related? I'm going to list off some movies, okay? Free Guy, Night at the Museum 2, Cheaper by the Dozen, The Internship, This Is Where I Leave You, Date Night, Big Fat Liar, Just Married. What do these movies all have in common?
Okay.
Sean Levy.
Yes, correct. Sean Levy. And what else do they have in common? They are like 2.5 laugh movies, which is to say you will laugh sort of 2.5 times in these movies. They aren't funny, but they're like comedy. Like he is a really mid director. Like this is the most mid director ever, and the Pink Panther is the most mid comedy ever.
And I'll say, you know what? He's got a lock on airplane movies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Easy airplane viewing.
Yeah.
Night at the Museum is written by two of the funniest human beings ever.
Yes.
And they wrote a book that's like
How they wrote it.
Do you remember the name of the book? It's like how to write.
How to make $1 million writing Hollywood movies or something.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's something
Thomas
like
Lennon.
that. And that's exactly what these are, right? We're talking, of course, about Thomas Lennon and Robert Ben Garant from The State and from Reno 911, and they're the best. And they made a lot of money writing the Night at the Museum movies.
Yeah.
Same year, we're talking, this is 2006, Beyonce's album B-Day came out.
Ugh.
Well, tell me about B-Day.
B-Day has like some of Beyonce's like best hit. We've got, Irreplaceable. We all like heard that 100 million times. It has Freakum Dress, Green Light, Ring the Alarm, one of her best VMA performances. Deja Vu with Jay-Z. It's just like in Get Me Body, the extended mix. It's like hit after hit after hit on that album.
And then in 2006, this is the definitive moment for me. This is Dreamgirls. 2006 Dreamgirls. Obviously the adaptation of the incredible Broadway musical. If you have not watched the Tony Award performance, just stop listening to this. Go to YouTube, type in Dreamgirls Tony Awards. It is by far the best Tony Award performance you will ever see in your entire life. How do you feel about the movie Dreamgirls? And Caroline, would you watch Dreamgirls over the Super Bowl?
I did.
I know you did.
So one fact I just found out about this. So this, I think, thinking about what we just have said about these previous movies, Beyonce said she considers this her first film as an actress.
I consider this her first film as an actress.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And she auditioned in full costume and did choreography. I've seen it twice in theaters in the last year after not having seen it in a while. And it is fun. You obviously have to draw the parallels between Beyonce and Destiny's Child. And obviously, like, you have like Diana Ross and the Supremes and like that. There's so much influence in it. What I think was interesting, I think doing a little bit more research this time, I didn't realize. So this obviously was Beyonce's like full effort to try and get nominated for an Oscar and win. You can feel that in every aspect of this. And she was not included as, I think for Listen, it was nominated for Best Original Song. They wouldn't include her on the nomination because they wouldn't allow more than 3 writers on the song. So she didn't get nominated for any Oscars for Dreamgirls.
That's crazy.
Do you think that she was promised an Oscar nomination in this? Do you think that was... You do think that was part of the... why she took that role?
I think this feels like this was Beyonce trying to get an Oscar, and then we have the Jennifer Hudson, and it's kind of like that really... I think when you watch Dreamgirls, like, Beyonce is unreal in it, but it's like Jennifer Hudson usurps like so much of that screen time. Like, watching it, she has so like that. The minute she starts belting, and I'm telling you in your face, like, it's hard to not emotionally react to that. Also, not for nothing, Eddie Murphy's unreal in it as well. Everyone's giving incredible performances in it, but it is the Jennifer Hudson experience.
I think Eddie Murphy should have won an Oscar in my opinion.
Yes.
I think it's Blank Check with Griffin and David, that podcast that talks a lot about how, like, yeah, he should have won, but he's like a legendary asshole on set, and so everyone's like, yeah, you're not gonna win because like everyone in this room does not like working with you, but you were good in this movie, so you deserve a nomination. Remember when he stormed out after he didn't win? That's a fascinating thing.
Oh yeah.
And by contrast, Alan Arkin won that year, and whether Eddie Murphy gave the better performance or Alan Arkin did, everyone loved Alan Arkin for 50 years in Hollywood.
Yeah.
That's how you win an Oscar.
Alan Arkin's son was one of the Pink Panthers, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh.
No. It all goes
Cool.
back to Pink Panther.
I should double check that.
It is...
Dreamgirls is a good movie. Dreamgirls is a good movie.
Yeah. It's the first film to be nominated for the most Oscars in a given year without getting a Best Picture nomination.
Huh.
Yeah, it's not a great movie, but it is a good movie.
It's like it is a tight, like, I know, it's very it's like, it's so well done. It's one of the better movie musicals adaptations, I think, in recent history. But it's not, I love it, but I don't ultimately leave thinking about Beyonce's performance in it when I watch it.
No.
And Anika Noni
No.
Rose, it gives an amazing performance in it too. We don't like speak on her enough, but it's a well cast ensemble piece.
But it's the Jennifer Hudson show.
Yeah.
And it's also that song. It's like that character gets the song.
Yeah. And they tried to do it
it's
with
good.
Listen, and Listen is an amazing, one of the better, like, original songs I think that they've written for a movie musical to get that nomination. But it's hard to follow that with, like, And I'm Telling You I'm Not Going, because, like, that song is such the centerpiece of the movie.
A top 10 ever.
Yeah.
Like, it's a top 10 ever Broadway song. So, like, the person who was going to sing it was going to get all the attention. And Beyonce couldn't have played that part,
No.
by the way. I'm not just talking physically either. Like, she doesn't have that presence.
Beyonce's
to
never
her.
the second banana. Beyonce is the number one banana. Like, she's never going to be able to play Effie.
In 1968, Alan Arkin played Inspector Jacques Clouseau in the movie Inspector Clouseau.
Oh,
Okay. What happens next? In 2008, a album comes out called I Am ... Sasha Fierce.
this is full of hits.
Ugh.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite albums other than Lemonade and actually Cowboy Carter. I Am Sasha Fierce is quite
It's
quite an album.
It was an era. I was happy that we were all around for it.
In 2008, I am a projectionist at a movie theater in Philadelphia. A trailer comes out that I have watched 17,000 times, and that movie is called Cadillac Records. Ethan and Caroline, did either of you watch Cadillac Records this week?
I wasn't able to find it, so I did not see it this week.
Yeah, I wasn't either.
It's one of those movies that's really hard to find because there's a lot of music in it. There is a lot of
Yeah.
Can I say, as a movie, it's fine. The performances in it. Adrian Brody is doing his thing. Jeffrey Wright as Muddy Waters. Jeffrey Wright's unreal in everything he does.
It makes me want to see it.
Beyoncé as Etta James is really good. She doesn't have much to do acting-wise, but she sings, and she's really, really good. Cedric the Entertainer's in it. He has fun. Eric Bogosian, I'll freak for any time. He's Alan Freed in this movie. It's kind of hard to watch, but it's a pretty good movie. It has a little bit of a made-for-TV movie feel, like a... remember the Temptations movie, the VH1 movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has that feel from like a filmmaking perspective, but the acting is really good, and the music is really good, and the Golden Globes in 2009 nominated Beyoncé for Best Original Song for the song Once in a Lifetime.
It's also directed by a woman.
It is also directed by a woman.
Yes,
Yeah,
because
Darnell
the person's
Martin,
name
yeah.
is Darnell Martin, and then the photo is of this person.
She was camera and electrical department in Do the Right Thing.
Wow. Really
Good for her.
good
kinda
for
cool.
her.
Good for women.
Yeah, I'd like to watch that movie.
Yeah.
But it definitely feels like a forgotten movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, the only reason I think about this movie is the amount of times I have heard Beyoncé sing as Etta James while projecting a movie. Because the movie trailers come in these small little reels of 16 millimeter film. This is back when we had film. Now it's not that. Now it comes on a flash drive and the projectionist plugs it into a computer and presses play, which is bullshit.
Right.
But we had these little tiny 16 millimeter films. I actually have a whole box of them in my basement because I kept all the
Cool.
trailers because I thought it'd be cool
Cool.
to
Oh,
give
that's
to people
cool.
throughout my life. I actually might have one of Cadillac Records. I should check. But you would reel it up, you'd splice them together, and you'd put them before the movie. And I swear to God, and what would happen is the projectionist would get a sheet of paper that would say, "Hey, the movie is Wolverine. Well, these 9 trailers need to play before Wolverine. You have to make sure that you splice them in the correct order, and physically stick them onto the movie before it plays." And for whatever reason, for 3 months, every single movie I'd play, it would say, "You throw Cadillac Records on there. This is going to be a big hit."
And it wasn't.
Yeah.
And it was not.
And it's tough because Cadillac Records, it has this similar vibe to Dreamgirls. So I think kind of that's why it feels forgotten, because it's not quite the same movie, but it is vibe adjacent.
Vibes adjacent. It's a good category.
Mhm.
In 2009, an actress came around named Ali Larter, and we all had crushes on her, and then the movie came out called Obsessed. Did either of you see Obsessed?
Okay.
I watched it this week. I'd never seen
I
it.
got so,
What a sexy movie.
I got so high and watched it this week, and wow.
Yeah. This is a good movie.
Okay.
What? It's
I-
sorry, not a good movie. But Ethan
Yeah,
and Caroline, tell me
it's-
about this movie.
It's not a good movie, and I loved it.
Um,
Like, it was exactly what it needed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's trash. It's beautiful trash.
I will note, it's the only movie that Beyonce doesn't sing in. So this is the only time she doesn't sing in any of the movies. And then after, I think she sees this, she's like, I can't do that again. Wow, it really feels like of that. I was very shocked to know that Tyler Perry had nothing to do with this film.
Beyonce got Teen Choice Award nominations. The movie got Teen Choice Award nominations. Unfortunately, both Beyonce and Ali Larter got Razzie Award nominations, but that didn't stop them from getting an MTV Movie Plus TV award. They won this for best fight between Beyonce and Ali Larter, and I agree.
Yeah, that was
the
the entire movie. I was waiting for the fight. It just feels like for an hour, like nothing is happening, and you're just
amazing.
like, I just need the two of them to fight. This is what I signed up for. Like Idris Elba doesn't even look like himself in this movie. He kind of looks like Taye Diggs. And it's like this weird, so you're just waiting, building to the fight, and the fight does not disappoint.
I started the movie thinking, wow, Idris Elba looks so much more handsome with facial hair. And I ended the movie by thinking, wow, that man's handsome no matter how much facial hair he has.
That was the story of the movie. I was a projectionist at the time, and everyone was like, Idris Elba is... Actually, you know what? I remember vividly. I was projecting this movie. Opening night, I accidentally projected it upside down. That's the second time I did that in my life. The other one being High School Musical 3. And somebody came out to complain, and I said, oh, sorry, and stopped it and had to re-reel everything. It's a whole pain. Every single person who saw this movie said, Idris Elba should be James Bond. I swear. This was 2009 that I heard people starting to say this.
Not wrong.
Yeah. And honestly, and I think the best Beyonce lines in the movie are when she calls her and she says, you listen to me. You know exactly who this is. You came into my house. You touched my child. You think you're crazy. I'll show you crazy. Just try me, bitch. And it like, I said, you know what? This is the kind of part that you like dream to play. 'Cause you just go crazy. You're just a crazy like woman, like liking Idris Elba. He never has any advances on her. I think both parts get to be fun because you're just getting to go to 100 on either end.
In 2011, her fourth album came out. Hey, Caroline, what's that called?
The fourth album, 4.
4, that's right. Her fourth album is called 4. In 2013, her album Beyoncé comes out. Also in 2013, a movie comes out that has never existed. It is a 3D movie called Epic. And dare I say it, it is her best performance. What did you two think of the movie Epic?
I did not make it to Epic,
I didn't
unfortunately.
watch this movie.
None of you need to watch it. None of you need to watch
Okay.
it. It has a really good cast. It has Amanda
Great.
Seyfried. It has Josh Hutcherson. It has Colin Farrell. It has Aziz Ansari. It has Blake Anderson from Workaholics in 2013. Good for him. This is a movie that doesn't exist. It's oddly Fern Gully meets, I don't know, Lord of the Rings meets Frozen, I guess. It's Discover a World from the creators of Ice Age and Rio. Yeah, it feels like Ice Age meets Rio meets Lord of the Rings. It's a movie that doesn't exist, but fine, whatever. And then in 2016, everything changes. Lemonade comes out, and I truly feel like Beyonce is on a different planet and is the center of the universe. In 2022, Renaissance came out. Oh, sorry, before that, in 2019, The Lion King comes out. Jon Favreau's live action, just kidding, it's a cartoon, just kidding, it's CGI movie. That's whatever, it's fine. Did you know they're making a sequel to this?
It's
Barry Jenkins is directing
Yeah.
it. Why
Barry
is
Jenkins.
Barry Jenkins using his immense talent to do that?
I can tell you, it's a check.
I guess.
Is it a check or is it a challenge that he wanted to jump into?
Or both.
It's a check, fine.
It's a check.
I don't know. I don't get it. Then Beyonce has Renaissance in 2022, Cowboy Carter in 2024. She is an incredibly powerful human being. She runs an empire. She is beyond the movie she's in. We talked about Taylor Swift's film career, and I argued she doesn't need to actually act. She is above acting. Everything she has done in her movies led her to be the most powerful human in the world, and that includes kind of blasé acting. I think Beyonce is beyond everything as well, but I do see a world where she wins an Oscar one day. I think she could do it. I see the blueprints there.
I think for Beyonce to win an Oscar now, it's going to be after like whenever this act happens. But I think the shift happened the minute self-titled dropped and she changed how we listen to music. And that was when she went from Beyonce the person to Beyonce the iconography. Like she's she's Prince, like, at this point. Like, has become sort of this.
She's Prince. That is great. She's Prince.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like,
that is good.
That's her comp.
Yeah.
That's her comp.
Like, she is a symbol, like, beyond that now at this point. So it's kind of like, I don't know what it'll be something like, I don't know if it's like a Purple Rain or something like that like we get to, in which maybe that may be when we allegedly get all these visuals when the third album comes out, because like I don't think we're going to get the Cowboy Carter or like any of the visuals for Renaissance, Cowboy Carter, Act 3, what I think will be a rock album, until all three are released. And maybe that is something that is Beyonce is like pivoting to, that maybe her nomination, because we have no idea what they're going to look like. So I'm curious to kind of see what that project would look like at this point, because she's so, like, yeah, she's bigger than, she's not the Beyonce that she was in Obsessed or Pink Panther.
Ethan, how do you get Beyonce an acting Oscar? She comes to you. She goes, Ethan, you're my agent. Hey, put down your money. Hey, listen to me. Put down all your money and listen to me. I need an acting Oscar. How do you get Beyonce an acting Oscar?
I'm going to like give a roundabout answer, which is to say, I wish that journey had started after Obsessed, when she actually acted in a movie and she wasn't playing a Beyonce singer type person. And the person whose career I wish she had taken was Anne Hathaway. She could have been every single Anne Hathaway role. Because you think about every Anne Hathaway movie after 2009, most notably Les Miserables. She could have played that part.
Yeah.
Right? And then go forward from there. Like, she could have been in Interstellar. She could have been in The Intern. Like, she could have just had that career and continually set herself up. The problem with Beyonce is she can't be an ugly person. And Anne Hathaway also is never an ugly person. But every Anne Hathaway role from 2009 forward could have been Beyonce's. Why wasn't she in Ocean's 8? Why wasn't she in Interstellar? Why isn't she
This is good.
Wasn't she trying to start working with big directors at the time? And so I feel like she has to start over now, right? Gaga is working towards it, and she probably will win an Oscar in the next 10 years. But Beyonce is not just going to show up in a movie and win an Oscar, because the momentum isn't there.
Gypsy.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gypsy.
I mean, in 10 years, but
It's going to take 10 years to crack that.
Well, and at that point,
that's how I do it.
Blue
anyway.
Ivy could probably be in it. But I think I don't see Beyonce acting for another 10 years at this point. I just think with like where her career, it's more so like she's saying so much about, it's just kind of like I think if she's going to be doing like any sort of acting role, it has to be very intentional to reflect the rest of her brand and what she is as a symbol, which is why like Lion King made sense, because then she was able to do Black is King, and she did that entire, and that was a sort of narrative. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I come back to the same question. It's just like, I don't know what the project looks like for her, like knowing where she's at this current moment.
We'll see. Hey, you know what? This Beyonce person, she's pretty talented. I think the future's bright for this Beyonce person. Happy we cracked that in this podcast.
You know,
she definitely has more fun movies than Taylor Swift does.
100%. And I'll say, I got to see Homecoming at the Academy Museum this year, and that was incredible. Like if you haven't rewatched Homecoming in the last several years, you got to go back, because it's one of our best concert films. To see the shift, like how they were able to go between the two Beychella performances, and to know that it lost to Carpool Karaoke at the Emmys is still one of our most shameful losses. Maybe more than 2016 election, but who's to say?
I think that's how it happens. I think Homecoming is a documentary more than it is a concert film. I think Taylor Swift's The Eras Tour is a pure concert film. I think it could have been a documentary, and it could have won Best Documentary because that was a pretty not weak field, but it was a smaller field this year than we've ever seen. Maybe that's how it happens. Maybe because she is a filmmaker with that stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we can get a Beyonce directing or documentary Oscar. We'll get on that. Hey, podcast listeners, we're gonna get Beyonce her Oscar. We promise you this.
We're going to get Megalopolis in theaters, and we're going to get Beyonce an Oscar.
Man, why is she not in Megalopolis? Why is she not in that movie?
I'm still stuck
Put
on
her in.
Beyonce in every Anne Hathaway movie. The
I
one that's about to
know.
come out where she falls in love with a pop star. If that was Beyonce, oh my God.
There is a world in which you could put Beyonce in every single Anne Hathaway part for the last 15 years, and she would have gotten better. She would have become more confident.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Ethan, this is a
Beyonce
good...
crying when Barbra Streisand comes out. This is pretty good.
Yep.
This is pretty good. All right, that's it. That's our show. Thank you for listening. Ethan, you take us out. You're better at this than me.
Baby, it's you. You're the one I love. Movies are the one I need. Film is the one I see. Come on, cinema. Oh, that's the thing that I always watch. I go to the bioscope at the movie theater.
Okay, bye.
Cool.
Okay, bye.
He's a smart guy.